Zyn is not a sin, okay? That's the thing. We got Tucker Carlson defending it on the Full Send podcast, and let's check it out.
I enjoyed nicotine so much; it's added a lot to my life. And then I also dipped. I love dipping. But at a certain point, I turned 50. When I turned 50, I was like, can't dip. Like the dentist is against it. Girls don't like it actually, even if they
do sometimes.
You know, I've never met. Actually, that's not true. I was on a fishing trip in Idaho.
Is dipping when they put the tobacco in their mouth and chew it? Yuck.
In Sun Valley, Idaho.
That's the baseball players. They be spitting a lot. They got a big old thing of stuff here, and then yeah, that stuff is yuck.
And I had dinner at a restaurant there called the Pioneer, the Pio, with my fishing guide, and his wife was very pretty. Threw in a dip of Copenhagen after the meal. It was one of the coolest things.
Pretty hot. Long cut or pouch? Yeah.
No, it was snuff.
Oh my God.
Snuff, like the fine cut, which is what I choose.
She was like a good looking woman?
Oh, she's snapping the tin at the table.
Yeah.
Oh, she was really pretty. She's like,
pretty dope.
Takes it, throws in a dip. Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
In general.
Why?
Like, anyway, so a boy that one of my daughters was dating, New Year's 2020, was at my house, and he pulls this out. I'm like, what is that? He goes, it's the future. It's the future. It's a non-tobacco nicotine delivery device.
A non-tobacco nicotine delivery device.
Where you get all the whole grain goodness of nicotine, but none of the downside, none of the carcinogens. And I was like, I think I'm all in. So we drove to 7-Eleven, and I stocked up. I got all the different flavors, coffee. They have a lot of intriguing flavors, I would say.
So do you chew it? Is that the whole point? Or is it it's like a gum?
Yeah. But I stuck with spearmint, and it's been a massive life enhancer. I'd really recommend it to you.
It's just funny how like many people, like our audience and probably yours too, just will get behind you just because of that. And absolutely love you.
Can I just say,
our audience probably throws in Zyn bombs like crazy.
Don't get me going. So I use it, every second I'm awake and in bed.
Okay. So listen. So this is what I'm gonna say to you. I don't think stimulants are inherently bad and sinful. Okay? I don't think stimulants are bad or sinful. I think smoking is stupid and dishonoring to God because you're inhaling smoke. But generally speaking, just because something's a stimulant doesn't mean it's bad for you. Okay? So I consume caffeine. I love caffeine. I drink yerba mate. I don't drink coffee. I drink yerba mate. I don't have sugar with it. Okay? So I don't think something like nicotine in and of itself is sinful. I don't think caffeine in and of itself is sinful. I don't think alcohol in and of itself is sinful. We all tracking? Right? Because Jesus his first miracle was kind of turning water into wine. I mean, it wasn't turning water into wine. He turned water into wine. I don't think taking cannabis in an edible form for pain relief is sinful. The issue is what Tucker Carlson is saying here. Listen to what he said. Listen to what he said.
Throws in Zyn bombs like crazy.
Don't get me going. So I use it, every second I'm awake and in bed.
I use it every second I'm awake and when I'm in bed. Every second I'm awake and every second I'm in bed. Now, Tucker Carlson is one of those guys. His first language is English. His second language is hyperbole. I get it. It's like he got that pastor thing going for him. When pastors want to talk about stuff and everything is always bigger and Anyway, let me not rag on the pastors. I'll let my pastors. But every second, okay, so what he's basically saying is he's always using it. He's always using it. Friends, if there's any substance that you use all your waking hours and you're on all the time, I don't care if it's coffee. I don't care if it's smoking cigarettes. I don't care if it's Zyn. I don't care if it's sugar. I don't care if it's food. I don't care if it's cannabis. I don't care. Anything where you can't function without, you're addicted, fam. You are a slave to it. And again, our bodies were not meant to be slaves to anything. They're not meant to that. So that sounds like an idol. That sounds like an addiction. That sounds like something that he has lost control and balance of. And I'm sure that to him, there are great benefits to it because nicotine does have some stimulants to it, just like caffeine. But if you told me I consume caffeine every moment I'm awake and even when I'm in bed, I would say, fam, you got a problem. You got a problem. Right now, Tucker Carlson, because he's beloved by the conservatives and he's a contrarian, he'll say goofy stuff like this, and all the folks that are typically anti-drug will co-sign it. And again, I'm not even saying that Zyn is bad for you. I'm just saying anything that has this degree of control over you is not good from a psychological standpoint. Right? It's like Alex Hormozy scoffing at people that drink caffeine while taking Zyn and taking nicotine. Like, you're still on a stimulant, bud. You still need a pick-me-up of some sort. And so I don't think that the wine that Jesus converted was juice. Nonsense. That's complete nonsense. You won't find a single scholar to agree with that. Now, maybe it wasn't as potent. Maybe it was fermented different, but they could definitely get tipsy off of it. You could tell because they accused him of being a drunkard because he drank wine. And some of y'all need to read your Bible more, right? When the Pharisees came after Jesus, said, oh, he's a drunkard. Why? Because he was drinking wine. He came eating and drinking. He drunken and a glutton, eating and drinking. Duh. So you could definitely get tipsy off of their wine. What I'm saying is the abuse of something. That's the issue, friends. The abuse of wine, the abuse of nicotine, the abuse of caffeine, the abuse of sugar. These things in and of themselves aren't bad. It's the abuse of them that's bad, and it's the addiction that's bad.
I'm not embarrassed of
You
it.
sleep with one in or no?
I don't, because I don't want to choke on it. But seconds.
Okay, so the fact that he asked him if he sleeps with one, that means that there are people that sleep with it in their mouth.
I read in bed, so seconds before I fall asleep, I take it out. I've never had one of my dogs eat a Zyn pouch, though I'm not against.
Seconds before I go to sleep, I take it out. This y'all man's?
Because I think they would like it, but I'm not embarrassed of it at all. What I find so interesting, back to my, and I don't want to like reveal myself as a crackpot on your show, but I think the hostility to nicotine is really telling. I mean, obviously cigarette smoking can be bad for you.
Can be bad for you. Cigarette smoking can be bad. No. It's unequivocally bad for you. It's unequivocally bad for you. It's not that it can be bad for you. No. It is bad for you. So just even the way he's talking about this, I kind of tell he's pretty far gone on this topic.
It's not bad for everybody, but over time it can hurt you for sure. I've had loved ones, die from it, so I get it. But nicotine is not a carcinogen, actually. There are all kinds of medical benefits of it, which are documented. It increases mental acuity, raises your testosterone level. It may be a prophylactic against Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
So let's look into the Zyn situation, which, by the way, I'm not disagreeing with anything he's saying. There are positive benefits to nicotine. I'm not going to say there aren't. As youth e-cigarettes remain a public health concern, with 2.5 million middle and high school students reporting e-cigarette use in 2022, a different type of flavored nicotine product is gaining popularity: oral nicotine pouches. What is a pouch? You suck on it? Like a lollipop? Why not just take the nicotine gum and just chew it? That seems, if we're gonna get the you pack a lip, yuck. That just sounds like bad dental hygiene. And some of y'all already don't floss enough. Some of y'all don't floss at all. Okay, so just to be having these little plastic pouches in your mouth with a little nicotine release, it's like a chew, but it's a pocket that you put. Yeah, nah. I think if you're going to try and get nicotine in you, why not just chew Nicorette gum? The pouch is nothing more than chewing tobacco. It's the same ingredients as the gum without the actual gum. But from a sanitary standpoint, like, wouldn't you just want to have a gum so you could chew it and then spit it out? With cigarette smoking on the decline, tobacco companies have shifted focus on smokeless tobacco products. Of course they have, including oral nicotine pouches. Oral nicotine pouches are used similarly to snus, an oral pouch containing shredded tobacco leaf, but unlike snus, they contain a nicotine powder instead of a tobacco leaf. Okay, so that sounds more processed. Wouldn't you just want the tobacco leaf? Nicotine pouches contain nicotine, which is harmful to young people in any form. Okay, so nicotine is harmful to young people in any form, according to this article. Is it because they're young, or is it because nicotine is always harmful? I don't know. And again, I know there's some benefits to nicotine in terms of it being a stimulant. Nicotine pouches contain nicotine, which is harmful to young people in any form due to the absence of the tobacco leaf. The Food and Drug Administration does not classify oral nicotine pouches as smokeless tobacco products. Oral nicotine pouches include brands such as Zyn, On, and Velo. These products have gained popularity in recent years. Overall sales of nicotine pouch products increased from 126 million units from August to 800 million units from January to March. That's a 4x, more than a 4x. That's almost 6x over the last quarter. During this period, sales of nicotine pouch products containing a higher concentration of nicotine, 8 milligrams, increased more rapidly than products with lower nicotine concentrations, 4 milligrams and 6 milligrams. In addition, Altria has announced to its investors that it will be introducing a new version of its On. I think Altria is the same company that owns Juul. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it is. Someone fact check me. Nicotine pouch products that is a higher concentration of nicotine's current form. Yeah. I think anybody that looks down on caffeine while doing this, it has an inconsistent paradigm with stimulants and substances. Advertisers for oral nicotine pouches highlight flavors and emphasize the freedom of using nicotine pouches anywhere. The leading nicotine pouch based nearly $25 million on ads. In the past, Truth Initiative has submitted recommendations to federal agencies monitoring tobacco use, include measures for oral nicotine pouches in national surveys. The CDC included oral nicotine pouches in their national youth tobacco survey, where they estimated that 1.1% of middle and high school students have used these products. They've used 1% of middle and high school kids have used these pouches. Here are some important things to note about the product. So again, we're on Truth Initiative, which is an anti-nicotine product. They want to keep this out of kids, obviously, which I think is a good thing. We see, according to the Bible, that prayer is extremely important in terms of us being transformed from the inside out when we get aligned with God's will. For the Christians watching this channel, I want you guys to implement these spiritual disciplines in your day-to-day life. And the only way I've been able to do this consistently is through writing down my prayers in a prayer journal that does a few things. One, it allows me to reflect and come to God humbly and ask Him to move on my behalf. And two, it allows me to document my prayers, which ultimately help me remember the very things that I was praying for and see the hand of God tangibly in my life when He answers them. So I would urge you, consider writing down your prayers. It could be in a blank notebook. It could even be on your phone. Or you could check out the one I personally designed and used for my own quiet time and spiritual discipline that I think will be a huge blessing. It's the exact structure and system that I've used for years to pray and be more consistent in my spiritual disciplines. You can pick yours up today by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.